So let's dive right in. There's so much Tesla news to watch, but let's start first with the prediction on production numbers. What do you make of this update from Musk? And is 2,000 a week enough if the company truly is hitting that number?
Yeah, I think that's excellent progress. Tesla really has a communication issue, not an execution issue. And the number of 2,000 units per week is equivalent to 100,000 cars per year. You know, Tesla only delivered about 100,000 cars in all of 2017, so they're set to report tremendous growth in deliveries this year if they can sustain that 2,000 per week run rate, and it looks pretty clear they're going to continue ramping. It's also important to keep in mind it took them 5 years to be able to produce 2,000 units per week of the Model S and X. With the Model 3, they've achieved that milestone in 9 months. So I really think, you know, the execution has been phenomenal. It's just the communication that is really leaving a lot of investors disappointed.
In addition to the production numbers, another headline we saw was that Moody downgraded Tesla, as you know, and this caused a lot of concern. Part of it was because Moody expected Tesla to have to raise $2 billion in the near future to pay back its debt requirements and fund operations. Do you see this happening, and what will it mean for the company?
First of all, Moody's, I mean, this is the same company that was rating mortgages AAA right before the Great Recession. They had to pay $1 billion fine for that, you know, in early 2017. So I'm taking all of their analysis with a grain of salt. I don't think add too much weight to it. You know, dilution has been a part of Tesla's strategy since day one. You know, as a long-term investor in the company, I've been expecting them to make these capital raises along the way. The company had about 95 million shares outstanding when they IPO'd, did 117 million in revenue. They ended last year with 166 million shares outstanding, but 11.8 billion in revenue. So they diluted less than 100%, but revenue was up 10,000% in the same period. So dilution is just part of their growth strategy right now while they're still in startup mode.
All right, now the recent declines, they're not driving you away from the stock right now. You actually bought more stock in Tesla today.
Yes, I bought more at 255 today, adding to my position. I'm a super long-term investor, and I believe, you know, like Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful, and I think now is a perfect, you know, time to take advantage of that situation. And you know, I think it's really interesting to note that people seem to have just thrown in the towel on Tesla right as they are so close to achieving, you know, so close to profitability. You know, 12 years ago, Elon made the master plan saying they were going to deliver a mass market car that was going to inflect the whole industry to going electric. That is literally happening today. They're building it at a rate of 100,000 per week or 100,000 per year as of right now. Like, I think Tesla's execution has been phenomenal. If you take a step back, this company has shown tremendous progress over the last few years.
So you said people are throwing in the towel, but that's because there's a whole host of negative headlines, right, around Tesla. Of course, we can't ignore the fatal crash that happened, and the NTSB is unhappy with Tesla saying that, hey, autopilot was on, the driver had 5 seconds to react, didn't take any action. What do you think the impact is of this story on Tesla?
I think the market seems to be really concerned because there's a lot of uncertainty. You know, the market hates uncertainty. It's still not sure how this will play out for Tesla. The crash is super unfortunate. And I think, once again, there's a communication problem for Tesla. Like, they said some public statements when the NTSB didn't want them to. They also call their software autopilot, which makes it seem like it could drive itself and you wouldn't have to pay attention, but really you are supposed to be paying attention the whole time. So, you know, once again, I think what Tesla's done with its autopilot division has been phenomenal, and it's really impressive technology, but the communication seems to be really lacking in the issue here.
You've said a couple times now that Tesla does have a communications issue, so how could they course correct that?
Something I'm really struggling with, honestly. Maybe Elon Musk just needs someone in the room on conference calls to tell him to be quiet at certain moments, because it seems like he says a lot of off-the-cuff predictions, and like maybe these 2.5 unit per week goals are great internally to motivate employees, but putting them out publicly and then just continually missing them, I think does erode a little bit of trust. But you know, nobody's perfect. I think the company's learning, so I'm giving them a pass for now.
And in addition, so speaking of the communication issues, Tesla said that you're 3.7 times less likely to have a fatal accident if there's an autopilot in the car versus not. I feel like this metric hasn't really been stated enough. Should Tesla be putting out more metrics and more empirical evidence that their vehicles are more safe?
Definitely, and that was my favorite part of Tesla's rebuttal, was the stat that, you know, one fatality occurs every 320 million miles versus the 86 million miles. I think that's what you're referencing. Yep. So the data still appears to be on Tesla's side, that their software is actually safer, but the media sees a Tesla crash and really sort of dramatizes it and sort of overplays it. So I think that's also really what's contributing to the stock decline.
We had a lot of questions come in, of course, after the most recent earnings release and call took place, where we had this idea of Elon saying we want to productize the factory going forward. How do they do this? How do they set this into motion the right way?
I mean, the product seems to be or they're productizing the factory. I think that's just sort of underway. Like as they scale production, they're learning more how to efficiently build a factory. And then once they really nail that down, they're going to start announcing other gigafactories, I believe, or car production facilities, because it seems like at about 500,000 or 600,000 units per year, they're going to hit capacity of Gigafactory 1. They're going to have to announce that they're building some sort of new factory to some of their vehicles.
And quick thoughts on Uber and Waymo?
Uber and Waymo, I think Waymo made excellent progress in its partnership with Jaguar. They had no electric vehicles in their lineup, so they were still burning fossil fuels with their ride-sharing service. I think that was a major weak point. So partnering with Jaguar was a really strong move. So I think, awesome to see that they're launching a service without a driver in 2018. Like pretty cool time to be alive.
Awesome. Galileo, good stuff as always. Thanks so much.